Welcome to the Founder Talk show, Yashwardhan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yashwardhan, you are an alumni of IIT Delhi, and you started with your friends this startup which is into edtech space, which is
Mhm.
in many ways is the right now the talk of the startup space. Tell us about your startup.
Absolutely. So we started Acciojob around 3.5 years back, and I started with three of my close friends from IIT. We were all batchmates when we went to college from the first year to the final year. We were almost together. And in fact, just to take you a little bit back on our story and how we got into this startup. After graduating from IIT, we sort of got into campus placements because that's the talk of the town. If you're coming from IITs, you'll get good packages and stuff like that. So we got into campus jobs, worked there for a year or so, and we were sharing the same apartment in Gurgaon at that time, right? And about a year and a half into our sort of corporate careers, we started feeling lack of impact of our work, right? So for me, the trigger was very quick because almost in 8 to 9 months, I started realizing that the work which I'm doing was for analytics-based consulting company, which was working with North American clients. And staying up late at night working on decks for those companies and bigger larger institutions, slowly and steadily, I started feeling that the impact of my work is not so high. And we used to brainstorm a lot of problems in our own home where all four of us would sort of keep bouncing ideas that there are so many existing problems we complain about, right? And closer home to us, closer to our heart. And why not actually work on those where you can feel that tangible impact as well? And that is where the journey for AccioJob started because for me particularly, the problem of careers, right? People not able to figure out the right careers, people not getting the adequate resources for the right careers was always very big. So as soon as just to tell you a little bit about my story. So as soon as I went to IIT, I came from a smaller town in Gujarat called Vadodara. So I didn't really have a lot of exposure and information as to what field should I choose and where should I head towards, right? And I believe after landing into IIT, I realized that I could have taken a more IT or software related field, right? And that was primarily because I made an uninformed decision. And that is the point onwards where I started thinking that, yeah, people should be equipped with information at least so that they can make much better choices about their own career. And from my second year at IIT, I started speaking and going to events and conferences. For example, there's a very big exhibition in Pragati Maidan every year for education and for 12th pass out students to come in and understand where they can go. And I used to speak there for like 30,000, 40,000 odd students dropping by in the span of 3, 4 days and try and help them make much more informed decisions for their career, right? It's always about choosing the right passion and interest and everything else, but also with a practical relevance towards where in which sector opportunities actually lie, right? So my journey into the career space started right from there, and last 8 years I've been doing that and counseling probably 1,000 plus students now. But AccioJob officially was born after I quit my job in 2018. Decided to take the plunge into this market and actually work on this big, huge, humongous problem. We could see that around out of 8.5 million graduates coming out of our 40,000 plus colleges in India, around 25-30% is our like average placement rate. So this is something which we identified as like a huge market in India, a huge problem which can actually help upskill youth and that can positively contribute towards nation building. So that is where AccioJob truly started off. And our idea was very simple to figure out what actually are these problems which are leading to low employment percentages, our graduates not really being employable. Right. And we had this intuitive idea that if someone is going to a college for 3 years or 4 years and getting skilled on something, why are they not coming out employed out of that? Right.
So, what
Absolutely.
did you find?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a longest journey there. So for a year or so, we actually visited 500 plus colleges, talked to the placement cells, directors of those colleges, interacted with students, interacted with a lot of company HRs and engineering folks there to try and figure out what exactly is this problem, right? And a couple of things which were really big insights for us was uh, that colleges' incentives are not 100% aligned with the students, right? Colleges will uh, sell admission seats, will try and sort of market things and value props from them during admissions. But when it comes to fulfilling their promises at the end of 4 years or 3 years, that is not really their highest priority, right? So that was the first thing. Second thing which we could realize was that essentially Indian youth was sort of missold this idea that if you clear all the exams in this 3 year, 4 year degree course which you are doing and get that piece of paper which we all call degree at the end of it, it will help you translate into something called a job. But what essentially is not communicated very well to the student is that we expect during these 3-4 years of course or program which you are doing to actually build a skill set also, right? Because skills are essentially what will translate to you having a great job outcome also, or doing really well in your career in that field as well, right? So I think the lack of emphasis towards that and the lack of effort towards improving the training methodologies at colleges, actually focusing on what the industry needs right now, actually focusing on making the students learn by doing stuff, right? All of those things felt a little bit missing in the entire higher education picture when you talk about it, right? So these were like big insights which we had, that how can we sort of help these colleges transform higher education in this direction. That was the biggest pain point or insight which we could figure out from the market.
You yourself had this experience of having taken a job, especially coming from IIT. There are more number of people coming from who are non engineers or who are non IITians. So you yourself felt at some stage, though you came from a premium institution, at some stage you were feeling stagnant in a job. How are you, through your training, ensuring that the students who take your courses upgrade their skills through your platform? How do they not get into the same space?
Absolutely, sir. I totally agree to this. We try and train our students on a lot of things apart from just the technical skills they learn through us, right? So whenever the students interact with us, what we tell them is that going through the entire program will instill a lot of life skills in you as well. For example, life skills like having discipline, having consistency across anything which you do, right? And these are things which I have learned from harsh experiences in my life, right? For example, building a startup, I think the biggest thing which any entrepreneur needs is consistency, like showing up every day. Even if you have a bad day, you come up next day and give it your all, right? And doing that since the last 3.5 years has helped us evolve what we want to get to the market, what students actually need, and how we can refine that every passing day, improve it by just 1%, right? And these life skills will take students a long way. But coming to your question, that the companies where they are headed to, I am sure for the initial few years of career, the amount of knowledge, the amount of exposure, the amount of real world problem solving they will gain from working here in the industry will add a lot of value to their careers going forward, their perspective going forward as well. And I'm pretty sure a lot of our students in the coming few years, being equipped with technology and hands-on experience with tech, will turn out to get into entrepreneurship as well and pay it forward by building more ventures, building more companies which can solve even more problems in the future, right? So I think the skill set of the future, which is software dev, is something which they are very well equipped with, which is the hard skill. The soft skill is what they learn by actually going through a rigorous program like ours, investing 6 hours a day for continuously for 6 months, right? That is something which teaches them that how incremental every day, showing up every day, putting in that 6 hours every day will not change your life overnight. But in a span of 3 months, 6 months, they start realizing the amount of knowledge, the amount of confidence they have built upon, right? So those are, I think, things which will help the students in the longer run in their industry, in their careers also. Getting in the corporate world right out of our program will give them a much needed exposure, much needed maturity on a lot of fronts, much needed understanding of how real world solutions are interacted upon. But later on, I am pretty hopeful and confident that a lot of these students will also in turn become entrepreneurs, because the hard skills required to solve problems which can be solved using software, they are already equipped with, right? It is only a matter of fact that they come up with some ideas and some motivation to solve a particular user problem, and they can go about building a fabulous product there. So we have a very simple, like 7 to 10 day selection process through our website. It is for anyone can come in with absolutely zero programming knowledge before, right? They can come in, they can sign up on our website, which is acciojob.com. They can just go through a few modules which are there to help like very absolutely zero programming knowledge students learn the basics, fundamentals of programming first. right? Once we go through that, we essentially want to filter out for students who are motivated, who are willing to put in the number of hours which are required for the program, right? Nothing else. We don't care about their past marks, if they have a gap year in between, if they come from a non-technical background. So like 50% of our batch students are from mechanical engineering, civil engineering, BSc, in fact, BCom, LLB also now, right? So we have like people coming from diverse set of backgrounds, all getting through the cohort with only one selection criteria, that they are motivated to work hard and put in the effort which is needed. And the whole idea after that is, for the next 6 months, we train them hard on a rigorous fashion. Every day we have live sessions with them at night for 3 hours. After that, we expect them to put another 3 hours of self-study, solving assignments which are given to them. We help them in a holistic fashion in terms of one-on-one mentorship sessions needed, one-on-one mock interviews needed, their resumes, their portfolios, their entire soft skills, how they can communicate well. We help them on all fronts across these 6 months. Structures, algorithms, which is sort of helps them build a very strong problem solving understanding. And we train them on full stack web development, which makes them like deployable on day one in the industry. And at the end of it, we get them placed above a minimum 5 LPA is what we guarantee. The average though is 8.3 LPA. So after that, we get them placed in the industry in software development roles. Once they get placed, once they get their first salary in their bank account, then they start paying us the course fees. So the student is completely financially independent throughout, and they have like a guaranteed outcome only when they pay the course fees.
Also, what they pay depends on the package you get them. Would you want to talk about this?
Sure. So we have 3 slabs for the pay after placement model. 3 slabs basically, so like if the student gets between a 5 to 10 LPA CTC, they pay us a total of 1,20,000. That is 10,000 per month for 12 months. Right. If they get placed in 10 to 18 LPA slab, they pay us 15,000 per month for 12 months, which is a total of 1,80,000. And above 18 LPA, if they get placed, they pay 20,000 per month for 12 months, which is 2,40,000. So those are the 3 slabs in which students, according to how they get placed, which package, they pay us accordingly after they get their first salary.
What you're saying is, as a company, you've got a skin in the game, and you don't charge them upfront. You charge them only once they are placed. And for the student also, there is the skin in the game where they have, if they want a higher package, they work hard, which is perfect model, I think. So as a company, as a startup, how easy or difficult is it for you to find skilled mentors or trainers for the courses that you offer?
Got it. Absolutely, sir. So we've been fortunate to be in the networks of people in the industry who are working at all of these product-based companies where students aspire to go to, right? What we call the Fang, or now the Mang actually, of the tech companies, right? So we've had fortunately coming from a IIT background, there are a lot of people we were connected to, and those computer science grads went across to work at all of these Fangs and Mangs. And now we pitch them that this is your time to come in and mentor our students from the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 colleges and help them get this opportunity as well, right? Because all these students lack is that we find students who are actually, I would say, diamonds in the rough, right? They couldn't reach a place where they got the level of training or the level of access to these top quality opportunities. But when I talk to them, I get inspired myself by the resilience they have, by the amount of effort they can put in for their own career, right? And the amount of confidence and exposure they gain across the program, right? From the entry day to like the 3rd, 4th month of the program in itself is a huge change in them, right? So we've been fairly fortunate to be amongst these, and that's why we are able to get these mentors and instructors on board as well. But fortunately, India has some premier colleges where students are strong with these problem solving skills. For example, the IIITs, the NITs, the IITs, the BITs, the DTUs and NSITs, and such colleges which we count as tier 1. And these mentors have gone through all of these processes and clearing these top-notch companies and their interviews and placements. And these people are happy to come in and pay back, right? And help the next sort of set of software development engineers coming from tier 2 cities, I would say, tier 3 cities, I would say, even villages now, and help them, guide them to a path where they can unlock their full potential.
I'm curious to know this, when you get the students from tier 2, 3 villages, as you're saying, and students who come from premium institutions vis-a-vis students who come from not premium institutions, do you see there is a gap in their aptitude towards what they want to learn? Or are the students, what I'm trying to understand is, are the students from tier 2, tier 3 cities and non-premium student, premium institutions, are they at a disadvantage?
I would say, sir, the internet has been able to level it out to a huge extent, right? But the only thing which is lacking, I believe, still is exposure, right? Because of the kind of networks they are in and what they have been exposed to till now, not all of the tier 2 or a tier 3 or a tier 4 college students are aware about how the market is, have a reality check and sense of understanding that this is the right path towards gaining skill set or working towards, so that I can get the best quality outcomes. Fortunately for tier 1 and tier 2 colleges, I would say they have the right mentors, right people, right seniors to look up to, who have that predefined guidance path ready for them, right? And also access to these top-notch opportunities available. For tier 3, tier 4, I feel that exposure and understanding and that guidance is a little missing. But slowly and steadily, right, internet is a big leveler and a game changer, right? That we are able to get, like, we have students coming from all states in India, right? And that is possible because we are able to reach them through the internet, right? And I think the internet is a great leveler there, and slowly and steadily the reach towards all of these people, these ambitious folks who are ready to put in effort, who have the talent and the motivation, right, and the dedication to achieve something, will start coming up from all across the country, I would say, and from the remote corners as well, right? So that's what my belief is.
You have already raised one round of funding from Combinator. What's your next plan? Are you raising any fund, or you don't need to?
So fortunately, we've been profitable in the last 6 months to some extent, right? So that has sort of helped, and we are powering all our growth through our revenues as of now. We were also fortunate to get backed by Combinator. We were fairly early in our startup journey. We had worked in the industry for a year or so after we graduated from our colleges. So we had some savings, but those savings were not so much that we could sustain our venture for so long. But fortunately, we got through Combinator, and Combinator was a great experience for us because we were first-time entrepreneurs and got to interact with a lot of people who were seasoned entrepreneurs, told us how company building what your perspective should be towards company building, how focused on users you should be. And this is a Combinator motto which we have sort of internalized, that student is everything for us, right? So that how can we sort of incrementally keep building our product, our program to help student even better across the day, right? And all of those learnings from Combinator, apart from the funding which they gave us, right? All of those came in really handy in the journey of building Acciojob in the last 3 years for us, right? But currently, how we look at it is that we are looking to scale every day. We are trying to grow the program to as many students as we can. And hopefully in the next couple of years, we are able to sort of massively increase the number of students joining us and getting a good job outcome through us.
Thank you, and thank you. Really appreciate that you joining us, and we look forward to hosting you on some of our panel talks.
Absolutely, sir. I'll be in touch.